You know, I'm a firm believer that if you ever achieve any type of success, it's important to remember where you came from. This week, we're headed back to my roots, my hometown roots. We're going to show you a little bit of the town I grew up in, and we're going to show you where I caught my first beaver. Oh, and by the way, we're trapping beavers this week on Trapping Time.
Do you have the drive to be a trapper? They question my skill and my motive. They call me a Hollywood trapper. I give it my all to this game called trapping so that she can experience the challenge.
Well, it's getting late. Sun's going down, baby. Smell that. Just screams coon. The brush pile set came about.
We as trappers push ourselves to the limits.
This is my first Mississippi cat. I hate it. There's a gray fox down here. I caught this pretty little red right here. That is a monster. They're so big we got to drag them like deer. Peyton second beaver. This is what you experience when you go on a trapping trip. Brand new beaver trap. Got the FB1. I see the tail. Beautiful. Brand new. Got a muddy mess happening. We got one. Right exactly what I'm talking about. Right here in this dip. 1 second.
Robby, Gilbert, king of poor man's zone. Did you happen to see that awesome?
I got something up here. Aha! The 175s are definitely doing their job.
Do you have what it takes to play the game?
Three.
Follow me on my journey. This is my story. This is my time. This is Trapping Time.
We're here at the nucleus of our little town, the log cabin service station. If you want to know anything, you come to the log cabin. You want something to drink, you come to the log cabin. It's just the way it is, and this is where people go and they kill turkeys and they kill deer, and it's been here as long as I can remember, and it's just like one of those community staples that, you know, if you're meeting somebody and you're trying to give them directions how to get somewhere, you tell them, go to the log cabin, meet me there. They'll know where you're talking about. But we're going to walk in here and get something to drink on the way home. Maybe see my mom. She works here. But you do got to watch because people drive like idiots around here. So, going into the log cabin. Got the old company truck happening. This is where I was born and raised. As you can see, the reason they call it the log cabin is because of the old style logs. Look at that good looking woman there. That's my mom. And we're just showing America what we're about. And for all you guys that don't know, Robby drinks unsweetened tea. I know that's un-American, but I like it. So, all right, log cabin, just another part of where I grew up at.
Time to get our feet in the water on my spring beaver line.
All right, this week I'm in Pennsylvania, and this one here is a special order beaver control deal because I'm trapping it for my boss. You know, I work for an excavation company. A lot of guys don't know that I don't trap full time, you know, so I got to do something to pay the bills during the summertime. Well, we're right at the edge of our property where our shop is, and as you can see, beavers have dammed this up. We have an access road where we get to one of our storage areas here, and they've got it all dammed up. And actually my first beaver I ever caught in my life, I caught right up here. Actually where one of my sets are at, so it'd be kind of cool if one of them connect. But we got a caster mount set here, so let's see if we got anything on it. My trap's gone, so we either got a sack full of rocks with a trap down the bottom, or we might have a beaver. So let's drag her in and see what we got. Feels like a sack full of rocks. We got a beaver. Oh, we got a small beaver. Holy cow. We had a good full front catch on him, and I kind of figured we was going to get a front paw catch only because the depth of this here, there was already pretty much a decent shelf there. I took my shovel and just dug it out just a little bit more, and he hit it perfect. Hit it perfect. You know, we're not very discriminating on these sets here. We need these beavers out of here. So let's take and get him loose. And then obviously, this is a kit. Really, really small beaver. But Those are the ones we want. We want them out of here.
Man, that beaver was a monster. Hey guys, unfortunately, drowning rigs, they don't discriminate against big, or in this case, small beavers. Hey, when we come back, we're gonna break down some of my favorite lures and their uses on the Trapping Time Set of the Week.
The Big Game Gut Glove is revolutionizing the way big game hunters and trappers are successful in the field. The 26-inch version fits over your elbows and protects you and your expensive hunting clothing from blood or cold water. They're made to fit your hands from extra small to extra large.
What I like about them, I can feel with them.
Existing products on the market don't give you the feel or protection you need. Wet or dry, the special non-slip grip bonds tightly to whatever you're handling. The Big Game Gut Gloves are reusable so you save money and promote going green.
Hey folks, be sure to check out our all-star lineup for the upcoming season. New for 2018 is the hard-hitting Blackout Predator bait. If you're looking for a beaver-based bait with some kick, this is it. We're also proud to add to the batting order our line of mouse-based baits. If you're looking for a mice bait so pure it's practically eating cheese in the container, then you will want to try Peyton's Pretty Mouse. Maybe you're looking for a bait with some long-range appeal for those cold winter nights, then you've got to try Peyton's Dirty Mouse. When you're serious about trapping predators like we are, then be sure to make your next purchase at TrappingTimeTV.com. Hey folks, welcome to this week's Set of the Week. This is our second part in our three-part series of different baits and lures and their uses. This week we're going to focus on some of the lures that I like to use when I'm out trapping coyotes and cats and even fox. Basically I break them down in a couple different areas here that when I put them into my lure bag. One thing to remember, and what's great about predator trapping, these animals are attracted to each other, you know, so a lot of times, even if you're out using a red fox gland lure, you're going to catch coyotes, you're going to catch bobcats, and that's what makes it kind of nice, especially in a state like where I live in, West Virginia where I trap, and Mississippi, and some of these other states where you're allowed a mixed bag at different times. It's kind of like Christmas every morning because you're going out there with the opportunity, even though we're setting for coyotes, you may go there the next morning and see a cat in there. You know, I'm a fur trapper first, you know, that's what I was born and raised on. When I got into the trapping field and heritage, you know, I'm there to catch fur. A lot of times we're maybe focusing on coyotes, but if we're in a state like Mississippi and we bust a bobcat, that's just an added bonus. We're going to break these lures down a little bit. And basically what we've got here, we've got our gland lures, we've got our different cat lures, we've got some matrix type lures, and we've got some off the wall stuff that more of a curiosity will really get them and entice them to do different things. We're going to start out with the food lures. Now we've got Red Tornado and Chain Reaction here from Night Owl, and these type food lures usually work really good early in the season. That's when I find a lot of use for them. You're really not wanting to overpower a set with a bunch of bait, but you're wanting to get a smell out there that kind of tells them there may be some food in there with a little extra scent, get them to come in and work the set. That time of year, early season, there's so much for these animals to eat out there. They're not really looking real hard to get that meal. So we're just kind of more of throwing a curiosity and a little bit of food at them to try to get them to work a set. Old South, Little Squeakers, it's a mouse-based lure, food lure. Absolutely insane. I have so many success stories come off of this lure that I've heard because, you know, what's a predator's favorite meal and what's one of the easiest things to get? Mice. So here, Old South, they're taking mice, mixing it up, using it as a food lure, and you're not having to carry around big jars of bait because at the time of year that we're in, it doesn't take a lot of bait, a lot of smell to get it to carry because it is so warm out. Then we've got our Red Fox gland lures. You know, of course we got our Trapping Time brand Fox gland lure, and we've got Old South Super Red. You know, I like a thicker type lure. I want a lure that's going to really hang at a set when I put it in there, because early part of the year, if it's raining, you want a lure there that's going to be there long enough, because you're not really worrying about the ground freezing up. You're more worried about the rain washing out your dirt holes and your flat sets. You want something that's a little bit thicker. Same way with the coyote lures. That's what you want. You know, we've all been to a certain ice cream shop, and when you order one of their specialty items, what do they always do? They flip the lid over. And that's how a lot of times I'll test a good predator lure. I'll flip the lid over. If it doesn't pour out, that's what I want, because I know, and this is my coyote lure, and I know that if it won't pour out like that, it's thick base, it's going to stay there for a long time. Rain or snow, it's not going to matter. We're going to get into our bobcat lures here. Now, spotted flat tail bobcat lure made from Old South, it's got more of a castery smell. They would almost consider a call lure in the South. Up north, we're using it more as an attractant because of the castor smell, but I catch a lot of coyotes on this. Usually a good backup set. Even though I'm focusing on bobcats, I'll catch a lot of coyotes on this lure because the castory smell, them animals come in and work it and get some digging and working the set. Now, my bobcat lure is a matrix lure, which has some in-heat additives to it. It really piques the curiosity of these cats, especially when it's cold and they're really starting to move a lot. It's a liquid lure. Not like the bobcat, not like the coyote lures and the fox lures where I want a little bit thicker. I want this to be almost like cat pee. You can get into using a lot of urines and stuff, but they evaporate. This way here, this is as close as I can get to a cat urine, but still be thick enough that it's going to lay there. It is a little more liquidy than the other lures that I use. Then we've got pure gator oil from Southern Snares. You want to talk about something, if you want an animal to start digging, that's what we want. We want these animals to come into this set, start digging, moving, pawing. The longer we can keep them there, moving their feet, a better chance we've got of catching them. Stuff like pure gator oil, that's what's going to do that. The thing that's nice about gator oil, it works all year long. It can be 90 degrees out, or it can even be 30 degrees in the wintertime. It's not going to matter. It's still going to entice them and elicit that digging action that we want. Well, if you take a little bit of this information when you're putting your next lure order together and you're trying to figure out what lure you need for what time of the year, hopefully this gets you on the right track and be trapping the same way old Robby is.
Before you make your next trapping supply purchase, be sure to check out TrappingTimeTV.com. We have an extensive line of products and we're adding new products all the time. If you've seen it on the show, we have it. Don't forget to check out the Trapping Time line of baits and lures. You will definitely want to try out our #1 selling Back 40 Predator bait. We also are the home of the Trapping Time Trap Bed Cookie Cutter. Make TrappingTimeTV.com your last stop.
From the hills of West Virginia, Smokey's Deer Lures presents the first and only real pre-orbital gland lure in the world. Applying pre-orbital gland lure to a licking branch will allow you to take a complete inventory of the bucks at your favorite hunting spot. Get yours at Smokey'sDeerLure.com.
Hey folks, welcome back. You know, drowning rigs weren't the only setup I had on the stream that day. Let's see how those old beavers handle an old 330 set up in a diving log set.
All right, now we got to get across this fence here. I've got a 330 sitting over here. Looks like we got one. I can see it from here. All right, now like you heard me say earlier, this is where I caught my first beaver ever. Actually, the neighbor, I didn't know anything about trapping beavers. I mean, nothing at all. And one of the local trappers, I told him, I said, hey, I want to trap beavers. Didn't even have the traps. I had to borrow the traps off of him. He come down and showed me how. And this little stream that runs out of here, you can see where those cuttings are at. This was actually dammed up all the way across here at one time. And I just come in here and I could see where they were coming up chewing. And it made a nice little spot. And I went old school with it. I did a diving log. I set the diving log up and I just wired off the 330 to it. So when he came up through, I even took a little stick and put up in there because I wanted to make sure that he was actually going to go up in here. I took a little stick and put a little bit of a iron tooth on it from Webster's. I just wanted to make sure they went up that direction, and it looked like it worked out pretty good. Now what we had here, we had a little channel, and it was naturally here because we got this little gully running down through here. But I could see where they kind of had it washed out, you know. Trapping down south has made me a lot better beaver trapper up north because now I look for things that I would have probably walked away from. And you look for those little subtle things, like down south, you look feeling for the channels and everything. So I kind of come up here and I seen this channel and I thought, this is it. Pretty decent sized beaver here. Real good looking beaver. I would say probably a 40 pounder. Like I said, this is where I caught my first beaver ever, and I think it weighed 42 pounds. For some reason, I remember that number. It's funny how you remember that kind of stuff. But at that time, this was all dammed up. But we had a perfect little setup here. Now, this water level rised on us, and we know it's going to rain some more. So what we're going to end up doing is, I'm probably going to move my diving log back up here a little bit more. That way my 330 isn't so submerged. We'll move it up a little bit. I forgot my setting tool, so I've already got a 330 ready to rock. we'll wire it up in here and get this set back off. This is all I was using. Piece of ironwood. Normally I would stake them off, but I didn't even do it on this one here. Because yesterday, this was on dry land, this thing here was. So, we're gonna take our 330 and get it reset. Here in Pennsylvania, we're only allowed 2 of them. It's weird when you go down south, every trap you run can be a 330. Here, you get into a lot of leg holds. Never understood it, but make sure your safeties are set, because we're gonna have our hands around this thing. Feel for your channel. Right here's our channel, I feel it. I'm gonna set this here. We're gonna take our wire. We're gonna wire this off. All right, now we're tied off. We wanna make sure this thing doesn't move. So a lot of times what you can do is feel it. Feel which way it's moving. All right. A lot of the old timers used to take sticks and push down in here. I've got these T-bars. They're gonna hold a little bit better. And we're gonna take and push it down in there to keep his trap from moving. All right, we're pretty solid right there. Now what I did yesterday, just because I wanted to make sure they came right up through here, I took this little stick and I stuck it right here. I want to try and get as much of it into the ground as I possibly can. Just leave an inch or so out. We're going to take some iron tooth from Webster's and we're going to put it on top of that. Just like that. It's a really thick caster-based lure. That way when they're coming up through here, they're going to smell this, can't resist it, swim underneath, and get punched. And we got us another beaver. Pennsylvania beaver trapping. We got about 3 days left in the season. I love this spring trapping. You don't fight all the ice, but you got to fight the water. But we have to get these ones out of here, because if not, it's going to cause us one major headache. Good times.
For some of us, trapping season never ends. It's in our blood. It defines the very person we are. Let Southern Snares and Supply be part of your trapping world. Be sure to try out our best-selling capital punishment predator bait and our new Pure Gator Oil.
The Big Game Gut Glove is revolutionizing the way big game hunters and trappers are successful in the field. The 26-inch version fits over your elbows and protects you and your expensive hunting clothing from blood or cold water. They're made to fit your hands from extra small to extra large.
What I like about them, I can feel with them.
Existing products on the market don't give you the feel or protection you need. Wet or dry, the special non-slip grip bonds tightly to whatever you're handling. The Big Game Gut Gloves are reusable so you save money and promote going green.
It's always a good time when you can trap some of the areas where you learn to trap. You know, I'm pretty lucky and fortunate that I'm able to trap all over the United States. It's still nice to trap where you cut your teeth and you learn. I'm trapping today. I caught those 2 beavers right off Jollytown Road. You know, that's where I grew up. Gilbert Ridge Road is where I grew up. You had to go up Jollytown Road. I mean, we live in a town where, a community where everybody knows everybody. You know, it's kind of, when I was in college, a lot of my buddies would come out and I'm like waving to everybody and they're like, who's that, who's that? And I'm like, well, that's so-and-so and that's so-and-so. And I mean, it was a community too that you knew each other intimately. It wasn't just, oh yeah, I know his name. I mean, you knew about him, you knew his family and stuff. So it's always nice, especially, you know, come in today where I caught those at. That's where I caught my first beaver ever, you know. So, and I was doing a favor for my boss, trying to get them out of there, you know, before the season was out. But you get a little sentimental as you're leaving these spots, you know. I set those traps back. I got about 2 more days. I mean, I think there's another beaver or 2 in there, and maybe we'll get lucky and get them out of there, and then the dam can be tore out. But you get that sentimental feeling that, you know, it's more than just catch numbers. You know, it's more than pushing sponsor products. It's the game itself. You know, it's life. That's what it's all about. You know, it's the memories that you make. You know, and of course you guys see me take Peyton out, and of course she's in school right now. But you know, that's what it's about for me. You know, as I'm driving up this road, I can point out. You know, I killed a gobbler with one of my best friends right there, or, you know, I killed a pretty good buck there one time, or so-and-so killed a good buck there, or, you know, we saw a coyote there. You know, it's nice when you've got those family memories that you can look back on, and, you know, and that's what I did today. I made a memory. You know, I took that beaver down to the shop, showed the owner, and showed some of the guys, and, like, you know, a lot of those guys don't know a lot about trapping, and that was an opportunity for me to give them a 2-minute education on it. So maybe as they go away, are they ever going to trap? Probably not. But as they go away, now they've formed an opinion on the sport of trapping, and, you know, and why it's necessary. So it's just, like I said, it's kind of nice to get back to your roots and trap some of the places and hunt some of the places that you learned on. You know, we're on the national stage every week, doing our thing, you know, because we're all over the place. But it's nice to go, you know, a mile or two down the road from where you grew up. You know, these trap lines I used to run, there was no four-wheeler, there was no hopping the truck. It was walking. I used to walk these things every morning. And I always tell everybody, especially when I get to talk about turkey hunting, I would turkey hunt before school every morning. Would get up 4:30 in the morning, be out there to hunt. You know, a half-hour daylight, had to be back. Of course, I was a baseball player. I had to be back in time to go to school so we could play baseball in the afternoons and stuff. And I tell my dad, because at my dad's place, Peyton killed a turkey there last year. That's the first turkey we've killed in there in a few years. And I always tell him, I said, I think them birds are still boogered up from when I was trying to kill them as a senior in high school, and I didn't really know what I was doing, you know. So it's all about memories for me. Sometimes it's more than the catch, and it's you know, I'm fortunate enough to do this on the national stage, but sometimes at the end of the day, it's more than that to me. You know, I appreciate you guys all watching with me and hanging out with me, but, you know, it's a lot of it's personal for me, and that's why I push myself so hard to be the best and try to put out a good product with Trapping Time. So I'm glad you was with me today. I really enjoyed it.
Let's see if that drowning rig is strong enough to connect again before I'm done.
Well, just left work. We're checking our traps down by the shop, and it is a lot of water, lots and lots of water. This could be a bit of a safety issue. I was here yesterday, I jumped across this little spot right here, and I don't think I'm gonna jump across it now. Well, let's figure out an easy way. All my years of trout fishing, fighting water, hopefully we can get across there. I'm gonna try and get in the main tractor path and see if we got anything. When you got traps out, you gotta check them. We made it. That was a little iffy at times, to say the least, but we're over here. Check this number 4 we got here on this little cache mound. So they've actually fooled with it a little bit. Trap's gone. All right, let's see what we got. We pulled in. This is the fun part. We either got a sack of rocks or a beaver. We got a beaver. Another young one. Back foot catch, which when I set this before, the one I caught yesterday, I caught on the front, but the water was a lot shallow. When that beaver came up out of there to work this caster mount set, he probably had a chance to put his front feet. This water is probably 8 to 10 inches deeper now. He came up, chances are, that's why I hit him with the back foot. He had a chance to swim across, and with him being a smaller beaver, had a chance to swim across and go with a back foot catch. I think we may have him out of here.
Hey folks, I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode. I really enjoyed bringing it to you because it's always nice to be able to take that trip down memory lane. Be sure to join up with us next week. We're headed to Mississippi with my good buddy Jason Webster, and we're going to be chasing some Mississippi bobcats. Hey, and like we always say, we're keeping the tradition alive here at Trapping Time.